Well, Rocky, before we get to our next question,
Aha.
I think we need to find out who is our.
Da, 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 da. Hey, the camera went straight to me, which means I'm the one who's talking about this. All right. And Joel has some slides. Our ambassador this time is the amazing Padraig Hansen. He is a Canadian, I believe the first Canadian we've ever had who has been an ambassador. Patrick grew up in Iowa. He has a bachelor's in music and piano from Simpson College, a master's from Kansas City University, and a fellowship opera coach standing from Juilliard. He basically teaches as an opera conductor and music teacher in Canada, and he teaches at the Shoalish School of Music and also at McGill University in Montreal. And funnily enough, his music career is what got him into kilting. Back in 2017, his school was doing a production of an opera based on a Sir Walter Scott story, which was...
A few moments later.
They were doing his production of this opera based on a Sir Walter Scott story, and the costuming called for tartan. They wanted to have kilts. They wanted to have tartan on stage. And the costuming department said, that's going to be way too expensive. There's no way we can do this. And so he came in to try and help them find a solution. They wound up getting some cheaper cloth and some acrylic blend kilts, and they got like a whole chorus of 30 people in the kilts. But they needed somebody to test out the costuming. So they asked Patrick, hey, could you come in and just try one of these things on, see how it looks? And that was the kiss of death, and he's been addicted ever since, because he went in, tried the kilt on for the production, and he got hooked. Luckily, where he lives up in Canada, it's not hard to find kilts in secondhand stores and stuff, because you've got the military tradition of them up there. You have a lot of Scottish heritage people up there, so you can actually go into a thrift store, and I can't imagine this, but you can go into a thrift store and find kilts and sporrans and stuff just in a thrift store. So he very quickly developed a collection of over a dozen kilts, and he's been a 100% 24/7 kilter ever since. He has a lot of anecdotes about what it's been like. When he first started, the gag was that he did it to say, you know what, tell you what, for his wife, who was in an organization that raises funds for women's scholarships, he decided, I'll help out your organization by doing a fundraiser. I'll wear my kilt until the opera that I'm working on goes on stage at the end of January. We'll see how many people will give me money for wearing a kilt every day between now and then. The problem is it worked too well. So he basically wound up doing extensions on this wear a kilt for charity kind of a thing past January into June. People were still giving him money, still saying, come on, keep wearing the kilt. Here, have a donation. He wound up wearing kilts for a whole year, and he raised over $4,000 for the scholarship organization. So he did it for a cause as well as his own passion, which is always awesome. We always applaud that. And he's basically he's worn kilts in some places that some of us would never think to. Like, we have one image there. That's Patrick basically hiking up to the Parthenon in Greece, in Athens. He did that while he was also in Europe. He was in Bulgaria conducting an opera. He wore kilts the entire time, the entire 5 weeks he was in Bulgaria. And but he'd always wanted to climb the Parthenon, so he went from Bulgaria to Greece and climbed up in 107-degree weather to the top. And by the way, he also had vertigo at the time. So, and that's an accomplishment in and of itself, and at the same time, he also had tourists thinking he looked awesome. So he had to stop all the time because people wanted to take his picture. So yeah, he's in it to win it, and he's still going strong. He is now the kilted professor, and his students love it. His staff love it. He does lectures, and people just look forward to it, and it's become part of his persona. I asked him what his advice would be for people getting into this, and he said, essentially, don't try too hard. He said, basically, just get a kilt to start with that you like. Don't worry about being the correct tartan. Just get the kilt, get the sporran, and get going. And he said he recommends the first time you go out, try going to a grocery store. He said, a lot of time, including us, have said, go out to a pub for the first time. And he said, no, you got drunk people and stuff there. Go to the grocery store. People are a lot more chill at a grocery store, and you don't have to worry about people, getting weird because they've had a few drinks. So that's his advice on getting started in kilts. And he says, kilts make you a better person because you cannot be a jerk when you're wearing a kilt. You're always on display. You always have to display a good attitude. He thinks kilts make people happy, and you cannot be a jerk wearing a kilt. So that's my ambassador this month, and I'm not doing his story justice, but Patrick is a swell guy, and I really appreciate that he's gone whole hog into it. So, you're so Patrick. Sláinte.
Indeed. I agree 100%. It's whenever you are wearing kilt out in public, you are on display. You are the focal point of a lot of people. So a kilt makes you want to be a better man. It's to paraphrase Jack Nicholson or whatever from what was that movie it was in? You make me want to be a better man.
You make me want to be a better man.
I don't know.
But it's
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I don't know.
not a line from that movie, but close. Right guy. It's you feel like you're, at least I do to some degree. You feel like you need to be better. You need to step up your game. It's almost a call to arms. It's you're wearing a kilt. Shoulders back. Head up.
Yeah.
Act like it.
And part of it is that people will remember you. I mean, he's in an area where you're more likely to see guys in kilts than other areas because he's in Canada. He's in Ontario. But still, people will remember you. So if you are a jerk to them, they're going to remember that the guy in the kilt was a jerk. Pants equal anonymity. Kilts do not, at least not right now.
And that's worldwide as well. I mean, going over to Athens, wherever, it's you're an ambassador of everything, of your culture, of your heritage, of your kilt, of whatever. So I dig it.
There's positives to it too. Like one of the things he told me was when he was in Bulgaria, there was one night where he and some other people from the opera were walking home, and this gang of guys, like a street gang looking group of guys, like they look like skinheads or something. You're just like, coming down the street, and this woman he was like, just like, oh my God, they're coming right at us, and they came marching up the street, and he's like, good evening, and they're like, hey, can we get your picture? And so this street gang of teenagers, pose with Patrick for a photograph, just yeah, we're with the guy with the kilt. And then afterwards, the woman he was like, I thought you were gonna get mugged. I thought you were gonna get killed. Oh my God, So, and it's like, no, they dig the kilt,
That's punk AF. Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, it's an amazing garment.
Agreed. The wonders of the kilt.
We all have our own stories for how we got into wearing kilts. What's yours? Tell us in the comments. If you thought this was inspiring, and if you want to be an ambassador on our show, by all means, post a picture on your social media and let us know about it. Email sales@usakilts.com and we'll check it out.